Today I'm going to show you how to change out your handlebars on a Harley Davidson street bob. Process may vary slightly depending on the handlebars that you've selected. I'm going to be installing a nice set of 16-inch 8 hangers in black. I'm not sure exactly what rise these stock bars are. I did a little bit of research online. I read that they're a 10-inch rise. People call them mini 8s. I put a tape measure up to them and I measured 12 inches. So if you know, please let me know in the comments if these are 10 or 12-inch rise bars that come stock with a street bob. So in addition to changing the bars, I'm also going to be installing new grips, new risers. The stock risers on here are 1-inch diameter risers, and the bars that I have are 1.25 inches. So I got some 1.25 inch risers. I'm also going to be relocating the turn signals from up here on the controls to down here on the trees. The new handlebars are designed to have the wires run inside of the handlebars, and as you can see on the stock bars, they run on the outside. So I will need to disconnect these cables, and they attach down here in the frame. And depending on how much slack I have remaining, I may or may not need to extend those wires. Most likely, I'm going to need to extend these throttle cables. Not 100% sure, so I haven't ordered anything yet. I'm going to mount up the new bars and see how it looks. And I'm also most likely going to have to extend the clutch cable. Now my brake line is already extended because when I had the front end raked out and the fork tubes extended, I installed a longer brake line. If you're doing this conversion and you do need to install a longer brake line, I'll go over how to do that and how you can bleed your front brakes. Once I have the new bars mounted up, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like the stock chrome or if you like the new blacks that I've installed. I'm guessing this is going to be about a 3-beer job. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out these little clamps that hold the wires to the handlebars. There's one here, and there's one right up there on both sides. But once that's done, then I'm going to loosen up these controls, and I'm going to remove the controls, and I'm just going to let them hang down. Now I'm going to remove the controls. This is a Torx bit. It's a T25. There's one on the top, and then there's another here on the bottom. Now in order to move the grip on this side, there are some set screws in here that I'm going to have to loosen up. Alright, next I'm going to remove the 4 bolts from the riser. Now mine had little chrome plated inserts in the top, so I just popped those out. I already have these loosened. This is a 1/4 inch hex key handle. Next I'm going to remove the risers. I'm going to undo the 2 bolts under here. Now my headlight is not stock, it's a little bit smaller than what a stock headlight looks like. So I have enough room to get in here and get to these bolts. If you have a stock headlight on there, you might need to loosen up this bolt just to drop your headlight forward in order to get access to these without damaging it. So I thought that they were going to be standard sizes. So I put a 3/4 inch on there and it fits, but I had a little bit of play. So I tried a 19mm and that seems to fit better. So it looks like these bolts are actually metric bolts, 19mm. Now I'm going to loosely mount the new risers. Now we're going to install the handlebars. Okay, now I have the bars in a position that felt like it was the right position for me. Now I'm going to tighten down these riser clamps just a little bit at a time so they go down evenly. And I'm going to tighten up the bolts on the bottom. Next, I'm going to pull the wires out of this, out of the frame here. There's a rubber grommet, kind of holds them in place. You just need to pull them out, and there should be connectors inside of there that you can disconnect. And I'm going to show you how you can fish the wires through the handlebars. So I'm going to remove this grommet. Okay, so I removed the connectors. There were 2 on each side. Now I need to double check the lengths to see if these are long enough for the new bars. It looks like they might be, but it's going to be really close. All right, so I just double checked these connectors, and they're not going to fit through the holes in the handlebars. So I'm going to have to clip these off and then run them through and then solder them back together. So I'm going to clip these. And then once they're through the bars, I'm going to solder them back together and then shrink wrap them. And this one is for the turn signal. And this is going to be drastically shorter anyway because I'm relocating the turn signals. I'm going to clip that off as well. Just leave myself enough slack. I'm removing the turn signal wire. All right, so next I'm going to work on fishing these wires through. So there's a hole here for the wires to enter. There's a hole here down at the bottom for them to exit. So you can use a couple different things to fish these wires through. I'm going to use a guitar string, and since I already have the bars hard mounted on here, I don't really have the ability to move them around to fish string through. But you can use a string, a fishing line, or just a regular thin string. Tie a washer to the end of it, and you can drop it in here and then just kind of wiggle the bars around until you find your way all the way out at the bottom. I'm going to try the guitar string method, and if I can't get it all the way through from here to here, I'm going to have to loosen these back up and then use a string with a washer tied to the end of it. All right, the guitar string didn't work, so I just had to fish some regular string through there. I had to remove the handlebars to fish it through. I tied a little nut on the end and just kind of used gravity to feed it through. Now we know we definitely need longer throttle cables and clutch cable. Next, I'm gonna trim down these turn signal wires, and I already trimmed down this headlight wire, which was way too long, and I'm gonna run the 2 turn signals in the headlight through the same wire loom back to where the connectors are, just to keep it neat. I'm going to finish tucking the wires away, put the grommets back on, and then just have to wait for the clutch cable and the throttle cables to come in. And now the test. Right signal, left signal, horn, pump. All right, so my cables are here. Got my throttle cable, idle cable, clutch cable. I have a gasket for my clutch cover and some O-rings for the oil plugs, primary case oil, and transmission fluid. I'm going to start first with the throttle and idle cables, and then I'll do the clutch cable after that. When I do the clutch cable, I'm going to have to drain the transmission fluid. I got a 47-inch throttle cable and a 48-inch idle cable. Clutch cable is 76 inches. All made in the USA. I'm going to start by rolling back these covers. I'm going to loosen this nut, and I'm going to back off these adjusters to give me extra slack. And as I turn that, that's shortening the sheathing. And you can see all the slack that I have in the throttle. I'm going to remove 2 Torx, one from the top, one from the bottom, T25. Now I'm going to twist this back until I'm able to slide the cable out. And that's the idle cable. I'm going to hold on to this end because this will just fall right off. And I'm going to do the same for this side. Now both of these cables should just pull right out from the bottom with a little bit of pressure. I'm going to put these Torx back in just so I can get a little bit more leverage pulling this down without damaging the wires that are in there. Next, I'm going to remove this air cleaner to give me easy access to the cables, which are located right back here. I'm going to rotate this. Remove first cable. The second cable. And then I'm just going to pull them out. You also have some zip ties that are holding these cables into place. So one is right over here behind the tank. I have a tank lift, so it's easy to get to mine. You can just pop it right out. And then there's another one right there. You can see it. So I'm gonna remove those, and then the cables will come right out. Okay, now you notice one of these cables is a little spring on the end of it. So this cable with the spring, this front slot, the rear gets the cable without the spring. When you're installing these, just make sure that the cable that has the spring is your idle cable. So when you connect that to the handlebars, that's going to go in the rear position, and then on the outer position down here at the throttle body. All right, so I have the tension released on these cables, so they're in their shortest position. So this is my idle. So this is going to go toward the rear of the handlebar. Now I'm going to route the cables, reusing the zip tie. I'm going to start with the throttle cable. Make sure that the spring goes on the top. I'm going to reattach the grip in reverse order that I took it off. I'm going to finish adjusting the tension. Now I'm going to put the air cleaner back together. Make sure you don't forget your gaskets. Alright, so next we're going to tackle clutch cable. I'm going to start by removing the snap ring here on the bottom. I'm just going to push this piece out. Next I'm going to roll up the sheathing, and I'm going to loosen the tension on this cable, and I'm going to remove the clamps. Now I'm able to remove the cable from the control. I'm going to slide out plastic bushing. There's a clamp right there that I'm going to remove. Next I'm going to remove the clutch cable access cover, but first we have to drain the transmission fluid. This is your transmission fluid fill plug, and right under here, is your transmission fluid drain plug. The drain pan under the bike. I'm going to remove the fill plug. It shouldn't be in there real tight. See that there's a dipstick as part of the fill plug. Check your rubber O-ring at the top. Make sure that it's still good. And I'm just going to let that sit in there loosely. All right, I'm going to use a 16 millimeter. Next, I'm going to remove this clutch cable access plate. When I remove these bolts, I just made sure that I set them up on the floor in order that I removed them. Really all you need to know is the 2 short ones go on the top, and then the other 4 are longer. Now I'm going to remove the cable from the inside of the case cover. I'm going to do that by pulling out some of the slack and rotating this piece around, and then it unhooks. Before I forget, I went ahead and I replaced the O-ring on my drain plug. Now I'm going to stand the bike up straight because I'm sitting on the Jiffy stand right now, just to make sure that I drain out the last of the old transmission fluid. Right now I'm going to thread the new cable into the cover. Be real careful not to cross thread this. Alright, so the new cable has been screwed in. So now I'm going to attach the end of the cable back to the cam here. Next I'm going to prepare the new gasket. I'm just going to rub some fresh oil around the edges. I'm going to set it in position. I'm going to reattach the cover. Don't forget to replace your drain plug before you put the transmission fluid back in. Right now we're going to refill with 32 ounces transmission fluid. Looks good. Alright, so now I'm going to route the clutch cable. So this clutch cable comes with the new bushing. So I'm going to use the new bushing. Now I'm going to put the snap ring back in place. Make sure it's firmly seated. I'm going to adjust the clutch cable, take the slack out. You'll be able to see as I change the tension on this cable, you'll see the clutch handle moving outward. And we'll do this until it gets fully extended. Alright, so that completes the process on changing out your handlebars, the Harley Davidson Street Bob. Okay, here's another angle, another view. Those throttle cables are a little bit long. clutch cable I think is a good length. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are and how it looks. Please like and subscribe to the channel.